the moment I saw the article of Ardie Sevilla not being very happy, I knew there's going to be trouble.
I don't think it was a player-led revolt, but if the signs came back that it wasn't working, then 2 years out from the World Cup, you need to move, I guess.
74% win record. Rassie is the best coach of all time in South Africa, and he's standing on 75%.
Hey, I mean, who's the next All Black coach going to be? So nice of you to make Tony Brown available, Victor.
The one thing I can tell you is you won't have Tony Brown.
I heard Rassie applied for the job, Victor. I don't know if you heard that.
He's probably the only one that can save New Zealand rugby at the moment.
Right, welcome back to Rivals for 2026. And a little bit happened while we've been on holiday, JK.
Yeah, wow. It was a pretty hectic month, I guess, for the coaching staff and Razer, you know, like a review. Normally they do an internal review. I think what happened with David Kirk in charge, he decided to change that process and get an external review. So Don Tricker, who is like an amazing high performance man, I think he's with the Padres in America, but he used to be with us, sort of put the structure together, and then David Kirk and Kevin Mialamu sort of ran it. So yeah, I mean, the surprise, just a massive surprise for everybody, really. I think a review like that, while it must have been harsh, what came out of it was, if Razer has lost the changing room, and we probably need to talk, Victor, about what losing the changing room means, because it's a big term, right? Whether David Kirk would make the big decision to chat to Razer about, you know, not doing the job anymore. I mean, the first thing for me is, while I can be pretty critical at times, I think that, you know, the human factor is pretty tough. I mean, Razer put everything into it. There'll be everyone coming out now and saying, you know, a bit like when you vote for someone and you don't like them, you say you didn't vote for them. You know, I was in favour of Razer. I wasn't a fan of how it happened, but I was in favour. I thought he'd bring excitement and that sort of stuff. So I feel for the man. But, you know, I don't know how you read it from overseas, Victor, but for us it was sort of, you know, a pretty big call. But if the signs came back that it wasn't working, then 2 years out from the World Cup, you need to move, I guess.
Yeah, I think from all of us in South Africa, we didn't expect it. I mean, there's no one with a better record in Super Rugby than Razer. The amount of trophies that he's won just show the quality of coach that he is. And we spoke about it in the series while we were going on. I don't think you'll ever get a rugby team dominate world rugby like the All Blacks did for 15, 20 years. I mean, I went after he got fired. 74% win record. Rassie is the best coach of all time in South Africa, and he's standing on 75%. So pretty hard on him. But yeah, the moment I saw the article of Ardie Sevilla not being very happy with Razer, I knew there's going to be trouble. I mean, Ardie is a well-respected rugby player all across the world, especially in New Zealand. And yeah, it takes a lot of a senior player to come out and almost speak up against the coach. Especially a guy like Ardie. He's not an arrogant guy. He's a very down-to-earth guy, and I think the All Blacks mean a lot to him. So we don't know what happened there. But after I saw that article, I actually knew that will probably be the end of Razer.
Yeah, I spoke to you know, some people in and around the organisation, and they said it was the most thorough sort of process they've ever been through, and I don't think it was a player-led revolt. You know, it didn't have that connotation to it, is from what I've learned. So the questions are around game plan. The questions were around team culture, the questions were around the whole environment. I think so. No one felt that it was actually a sort of a fait accompli type of survey. It was actually done properly. So, once
But
again, I feel for the whole crew. I mean, it's not a good time, but I think looking forward, I heard Russie applied for the job, Victor. I don't know if you heard that in South Africa.
he's probably the only one that can save New Zealand rugby at the moment.
Oh, come on.
Maybe he'll come. You'll have to pay him a lot. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, unfortunately, all these things that you mentioned, game plan, team culture, that all starts with a coach. So, and I mean, it's interesting. And maybe it's different. I've seen it. I mean, when Heineke Meyer came into the Springbok setup as well, he was so set in his way, how he works with the Bulls players. And unfortunately, a Bulls culture, a Stormers culture, and even a Sharks culture is so different. And I think Razer coming out of that Crusader camp, and they've got a certain way of doing things, and they had a very experienced squad for the last 10, 15 years as well. Maybe it's just a bit difficult, and some of the other guys with different cultures couldn't fit into that Crusaders kind of culture that they used to.
Can we look forward now? I mean, you've hinted at it, JK. I mean, who's the next All Black coach going to be? So nice of you to make Tony Brown available, Victor.
Yeah, look, I think I really think that it's down to sort of Jamie Joseph and possibly Joe Schmidt. I don't know what Joe Schmidt's contractual sort of obligations are to Australia. I know he's finishing. I just don't know when that is. So, I really like Jamie. I think Jamie is a really, really top coach. I think what he's done is he's been able to actually take sides that probably the underdogs and have incredible success. Let's not say, oh, he went and coached Japan. What he did with Japan was amazing. I mean, making the playoffs of the World Cup, in that World Cup was, for me, amazing. So I think he would be amazing. If we think about a coaching team, we do know that, Tony Brown is one of the best attack coaches in the world, and he is a Kiwi, Victor. I know you're probably trying to get him a passport. So I love that combination. I think Jamie could do it without Brownie if Brownie wants to stay with South Africa. And so for me, it's really between Jamie Joseph and Joe Schmidt. And I don't know if Joe Schmidt's available. And it'd probably be really cool if they could both do it. So I'd love to see Jamie as a head coach and then, Joe come on as one of his assistants. I also think we've got Vern Cotter, who's got that hard edge to him. I know that he's had a few years at the Blues and he's won it. I don't know how long he'll want to stay at the Blues. So I think there's plenty of opportunity and plenty of options here.
I mean, there's coaches all around the world, New Zealand coaches that's very successful. One thing I must say, and I don't know, from the Japanese players, they weren't too happy with Jamie Joseph at the end in Japan. And why that is, sounded like he was very strict and very set in his ways. So, but I mean, he understands the New Zealand culture. He played. He looks like a rugby man, so it will be interesting. But the one thing I can tell you is you won't have Tony Brown. So maybe after the World Cup, you can pull him over. But I think for now, Tony will stay with the Boks till the World Cup.
Your loyalty to your team is very important, but also your loyalty to your best mate. Tony Brown and Jamie Joseph, very, very close friends and work very closely together. So, surely he'll look at it.
Yeah, look, I think, that we only have sort of 10 jobs in New Zealand, Victor, really. Maybe 20 at the most if you think about the assistants. So, if you've coached Super Rugby, if you've won a Super Rugby title, where do you go? You either go to the All Blacks or you go overseas. So, I think the combination of Jamie and Brownie is a real good one. You know, you're getting a couple that have worked together. They know each other. You know, I've heard that they can go to confrontation and not take it personally. So,
JK, it's all nice. It's all nice, but there's no way contractual they will be able to let him go. But there's no chance Russia will do that. So even though they might say everything, I mean, that's a business decision. You can't have someone coming to your camp and before a World Cup join your greatest rivals. There's no chance.
Another name that's in the mix, obviously, someone like a Dave Rennie.
Yeah. I think you know, Dave is. I think he was an amazing coach. Obviously, he was one of those guys that had to leave. Didn't have a lot of success in Australia, but that was external success. When you look at it, how Eddie got the job and what was happening. I know the players loved Dave Rennie over there. They thought he was amazing. This is Australia now. So yeah, it's whether he is keen to do it or not, and whether they see that Australian perceived non-success as an issue.
Can I throw a wild card in here? What about a guy like Ronan O'Gara that came to New Zealand to actually develop as a coach, went over to La Rochelle, very successful, and it doesn't look like he's in the run for that island job. Don't you think he will be someone that can come in and make a big difference?
Well, there's a couple of world-class coaches that I think are interesting. He's one. Although it seems to be his sideline behaviour would probably not suit us. I don't think I'd see him as a head coach, Victor. I'd definitely see him as part of the staff.
Yeah, but I mean as an assistant coach with Jamie Joseph.
Yeah, like I think
not a head coach, I mean an assistant coach.
Yeah, totally. I think I think that whoever does do the coaching, and like I said, I think Jamie would be amazing. I think Joe would be amazing as well. I think that what Russie has done, Victor, although I hate to admit it, is getting knowledge from other people is really, really important now. Like you said, I think that to win constantly now, to get up to an 85% win rate is going to be tough. And I think winning World Cups is going to be important. I also think that a guy like Sean Edwards, I think, is one of the best defence coaches in the world. You know, worked with Warren Gatland, now with France. So I think as an assistant role, someone like Ronan would be awesome. I also think that, you know, someone like Sean Edwards would be awesome. It just to see where they are from a contractual point of view, I guess.
That's a big step for New Zealand because we've never done that before. But do you think, you know, look at what Russie's done. Do you think we should be looking around the world, maybe not for a head coach, but for our assistants?
Yeah, totally.
I just think as you get all that knowledge. I mean, I remember when Furida Priya and Skulk Berger went over and played in Japan, and they came back, and they were better players. Sometimes we so get caught in our own little bubble, and we see rugby a certain way, and we believe that's the only way. And sometimes, I think Russia has done it with the Springboks now for the last few years. Sometimes it's great to get just knowledge from outside, people that look at the game from a different angle, but you still need, and that's why where I like the head coach needs to be a New Zealander. He needs to understand the culture, and he needs to have the final say. I mean, even with Tony, I think if you look at that Australia game in the beginning of the year, we maybe went a little bit too far away from South African DNA, pulled it a little bit back, but I mean, the impact he's had with the Springbok is so big.
Let's just, before we go, Victor, just you talked about the La Rochelle. How are the South African teams going in the URC at the moment?
Well, the URC, we're doing pretty well. The Champions Cup, the Investec Champions Cup, we still struggling a little bit. The Bulls and the Stormers sneaked in. Two very tough games. I mean, the Bulls need to go to Glasgow away. And there's another backline coach that can make a difference. Franco Smith's been really good there. And the Stormers, I think, needs to go play, I think it's Tulo in Mayol. So it's two tough games, but at this stage, the Stormers is the team. I mean, Sasha's still just being unbelievable in every game that he plays. So they probably are one team that can go very far. The Stormers is also leading the URC. They're on top of the table. So looks like the Stormers, I hate to say that, but looks like the Stormers are the team in South Africa that's pushing for trophies at the moment.
Victor, I heard that actually
Yeah.
the majority of South African supporters don't give a cuck, mate. They want to come back to Super Rugby. So when's that going to happen? You got to come back.
I don't think that's
just
going to
make
happen.
it
It will be great, you know.
about
Okay,
URC.
I love Super Rugby, strength versus strength, like it was back in the day, Super 12, Super 14. It's the best competition in the world. Nothing, we're close to it. So I do miss it as well. But at this stage, doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, hopefully the Super Rugby teams are having a better preseason than you, JK, and looking after the bodies a little bit better than you have. And we've got the Six Nations coming up. What are your picks?
Well, there you go. That's a good one. England.
I'm between England and France, but I'm still going for France, I think, at this stage.
I'm pretty sure the reason I'm going for England is I'm pretty sure they've got France at home this year, haven't they, Victor? I'm pretty
I don't
sure
think
that.
so. I think the last game is England versus France in France. I don't know. I had a look the other day, and I don't know why I'm thinking it's in France, but I know that's the last game of the Six Nations.
Yeah, I think it's the last game too. I think it's going to come down to that, but I thought it was in Twickenham, so I think that will be a big factor.
I'm picking Scotland.
Keep to media.
Probably why no one ever asked my opinion about Razer or who's going to win what.
Has everyone just forgotten about Ireland? Have they, including you, Ricardo, who'd forget your own name?
No, well, Trimby couldn't make it because he's gone to
Trimby won't be very happy with us, not even mentioning Ireland.
Well, that'll serve him right for going to, what are you going to, WWE or something? What's a big bash? What's that, Ricardo?
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Fake wrestling.
He might be on it. He might be in it. Now he's the fittest man in the world.
Yeah, he might make an appearance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Loves getting his shirt off.
I don't think that is his strength.
In his Speedo, like he was on the beach with you.
Yeah. Can we make a New Year's resolution, JK, that we won't see you in your Speedos this year?
I wasn't in Speedos, man. I was in my underpants.
Yeah, that's another resolution I'd like.
If I remember right, that was just his undies he had on. It's even worse than a Speedo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I lost
Let's
the bet,
try and do
mate.
better in 2026, eh?
Well, I didn't lose the bet. I won the bet, but I could not let him go into the bloody sea by himself. So it was just honouring my bet, Ricardo, something that's important to me.
All right. Well, just let's wrap it up. I mean, just for my 2 cents worth, sometimes people forget that we talk about people when we do these comments, and I mean, you feel for Razer, you feel that he's a guy who puts everything into everything he does. The players were probably they were asked their opinion. That's what a review's about. It's not like they were sort of trying to get change. So, they're in a difficult position. But the decision's been made, and, time to look forward. Time to go and pick up Tony Brown from South Africa and then get on and win the World Cup. I'm looking forward to it.
I agree with that. Razor's a good man. He's a good rugby man. He's had lots of success. I really like the man. I like all their staff. I agree with you, Ricardo. And especially on some of the formats where people comment, it's important to take the human side of it into it. Because that is rugby. Rugby's about sitting next to Victor. Rugby's about, competitiveness with respect. And so that's why I love doing the show, because I've got a love-hate with South Africa, but that's rugby. We can have I can have a normal drink. Vic can have bloody brandy and Coke or whatever that shit is he drinks, but we sit together and we can't lose those things. The only thing I will say is, we need to be careful not to head towards like football does, And in Italy, Victor, they say, I wonder if the guy will get to Christmas, because if he's not winning, they're going to get rid of him. So as long as we keep our core values That's important. But it is a human game, and the people in our game are normally, great people. It's just that results matter, I guess.
Yeah, just from my side, you need to be brave to be a coach, and especially a head coach in world rugby. But yeah, Razer is one of the top coaches in the world. I mean, if you look at his record, it's a fantastic coach. I think either one of the clubs in France or England or Japan is going to be very happy to sign him very soon, I believe.
Right, let's finish it there. It's early in the morning here, so I need to go over and turn my brain on. So welcome back, and we'll get back into it for the Six Nations.
Thanks, guys. So nice. I miss you guys. So see you soon.
I don't know if I missed you guys. I don't know if I missed you guys.
We're back, mate.
Just think the new coach coming in, 4 losses in South Africa. Do you think they'll keep him on?
Mate, what about the tour this year, man? I just cannot wait for that.
Well, that's why I say, what if they lose 4 in a row? Will they
shut
get a new
up,
coach
Victor.
to figure out?
To show you can't say we're going to lose 4 in a row.
Coming to South Africa for 4 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Against a double world champ.
Exactly. Who won the last series?
Yeah. Oh, that was a long time ago.
I cannot wait.
Right, let it go, gentlemen.